I'll second the motion. I'm not sure why we tabled it.
I don't know, you guys asked to table it.
Understand it better.
I guess.
Okay,
That was a
Kruger.
long week.
Yes.
Beerbauer.
Yes.
Wizenhut.
Yes.
Okay, that was for.
Okay, hospital equipment disposal.
Basically, with that, I need to make a correction. And I hope the newspaper takes note of this. We do not donate the proceeds of this sale. They go back to the county general fund. So I want to make that correction to make sure that gets out to the public. We had a tentative date that I'm not going to announce because there's some other things going on. We have someone to speak with us tonight. But with speaking with hospital staff, I think they want this stuff out of there sooner than we can get it out. So I want to, I guess, ask if we can purchase, or not purchase, but rent some Connex boxes to put out there on the hospital property to store this stuff in until we can get our date concrete, because no matter what, I don't think we can meet what they want. Plus, we're going to actually need a little bit of money for, like, the tickets that they write the sell items on. There's just some things that Brian doesn't
Okay.
have that we're going to need to purchase.
Okay.
So the Connex boxes, the tickets, and then when we do set this date, we're going to need volunteers to help with the auction and movement of carrying the items
Yeah.
in and out.
Okay. I was reached out by a gentleman that does that's Moving Dunn's moving company, and they would like to offer their services for that, for moving. I don't know if they can store, if they have the ability to store it on site before the auction, but I'll reach out to him. I didn't answer him. I didn't talk to him. I just, if we're going to do it, we probably ought to reach out probably for bids or something and
Yeah.
offer it for.
The bonus to having it on site is we're just gonna pop open those Connex boxes and bring it
Yeah.
out and sell it on site.
Yeah.
But that is gonna be an expense, and like I said, we're gonna need to we're gonna need to talk about that, because I don't think I can meet their deadline with this auction. Or they have people coming in that are gonna get right to work, and we don't wanna hold them up.
And you know where to get the Connex boxes
I
from?
mean, if you guys wanna go out for bids, there's.
No, I'm just asking, do you got a spot to get the Connex boxes if
Oh,
that's
there
the
you go.
right?
There's 2 or 3 people here in town that rent them out, so.
I'm okay with him renting them for storage, temporary
Okay.
storage.
And what I'll just to make it fair to the public, I'll reach out to the locals and let them give me a bid, and then I'll bring it back and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Or,
I'll get you the
Why-
information on this gentleman in case they can offer the same services. I mean, I don't know.
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're in that big of a hurry, just call all 3 of them, see what their prices are, and go with the cheapest guy to get the boxes. If they have enough boxes for the equipment we have.
If you guys wanna,
Well, I wouldn't be opposed to giving you the authority to make the choice off the bids.
So, yeah, I'll make a motion that we
For speed.
allow Commissioner Kruger to set up and purchase a rental agreement for storage for the hospital equipment
I'll
to
second.
get it out of Freeman's Way.
and we're also,
I'll-
and also, there's gonna be a little bit of an expense,
Yeah, I'll roll that in.
For
I'll roll
Brian,
it-
for Brian Allen to
I'll
get
ro-
the tickets that he needs.
For material.
I'll roll that into the same motion. That's so we can purchase the tickets for the items along with renting the connexes.
Okay.
Where do you want that taken out of when the expense comes in? Commission budget?
Yeah, take it out of the commission budget. This is Leroy's one special project.
Okay, Beerbauer,
Yes.
Wizenhunt,
Yes.
Kruger.
Yes.
All right. Area on an aging board member.
I saw the letter.
Yeah, I'm good with sitting on their board. They meet once every 3 months. And it's usually on like a Tuesday or something, so I think
Okay.
I can make those meetings.
All right.
So I'll sit on their board if that's okay with you
It's
guys.
fine by me.
Is that a motion by you?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that it's on the area on aging board.
I'll second.
Wizenhunt,
Yes.
Kruger,
Yes.
Beerbauer.
Yes.
Okay. Public comments for items not on the agenda. Was there anybody on the list?
Did everybody sign this for attendance?
No, I just signed the other one.
No, you don't have anybody.
Okay. Moving on, no comments today. All right, new business. Marion Township Treasurer recommendation. Why do we have to make a recommendation?
You don't. They made a recommendation to you. And by law, townships have to come through the commission to appoint their,
Okay,
they actually had somebody that won the election that didn't want it, and so we just kept going down the list, and now they're making an appointment. So nobody wants it, but this person will gladly do it.
so they're asking us if it's okay.
Yeah, all you have to do is bless it.
Blessings.
Is that a
I have to make a
motion?
motion?
Yes,
Yeah.
you do.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that the Marion Township Treasurer is whoever they decide they want it to be.
The name, I don't remember what it was.
Got the letter here. It was Rex. It's now going to be Larry Jurgensen.
Yeah.
Okay. I wish him well.
Did you make a motion to
Yes, I did.
approve?
I did make a
Mr.
motion.
Jerkes? I'll second that motion.
Kruger,
Yes.
Beerbauer,
Yes.
Wizenhunt.
Yes. Okay. John George Housing Development.
And I think he's here.
Thank you all for allowing me to come. I represent Dr. John Durling. Yeah, he's out north of town. I'll show him.
I have one that's yours.
I'll get it back to you.
Thank you.
Dr. Durling owns, I don't know, 200 or 300 acres out north of the former KOA and et cetera.
Up on the hill.
Yeah, up on the hill.
Could you
And
speak up, please?
Speak into the mic. That might help. Yeah.
And he has the property that lies along Old 69 to the east and starts, well, he owns both south and north of the county facilities, the shops, etc. But to the north, to the south of Poplar, he's got a half mile that abuts Old 69 Highway. That we've done a lot of surveying throughout southeast Kansas, but for him on his other parcels. And there's a strip there that abuts Old 69 that has water, has gas, has electric, and has direct road access to Old 69 Highway. that he would like to develop as tracts and sell for houses. Yeah. If he were in the city, there are specific rules and regulations and approvals and et cetera that would come into play. In the county, I've been told that, none of those apply, although the city has a 3-mile zoning radius, but that apparently would only apply in the case of something like a 20-acre plus industrial park or et cetera. So I've been advised to come to the county. I haven't seen that there's anything specifically documented or regimented in terms of this development.
That 3-mile
Obviously,
zone's for more or less industrial. It's for industrial use. It's not, if you're building houses out there, nothing will apply. You're good to
Okay.
go.
so that's what we really need to assess. Do we just use good engineering judgment and good financial judgment and take care of drainage and utilities? And the main thing that would have to come from the county is he's planning 13 3-acre lots, all in succession, north to south, south to north. Each one of those presumably will require a culvert from the county to access the property.
So,
And other than that, I've been surveying for 50 years. We've done literally thousands of surveys. We've
Right.
done a fair number of residential subdivisions, but they, of course, are typically in a city. But in terms of utilities, they're all there.
right.
We'll pay attention to drainage and those kinds of issues and access.
The only thing the county has is the state rules for sewer.
I'm sorry.
What? And floodplain, yeah, floodplain and sewer is the only thing you have to worry about in the county.
Well, I think we're.
So, but you're on the hill, so
high
you don't
enough
have to worry
there.
about, you don't have to worry about floodplain. So,
So one of my main technical endeavors for the past 30 or 40 years is local watersheds. And flood protection, flood damage reduction, et cetera. And so I just, crossing the Ts, dotting the Is, want to work with you. But Mr. Durling's getting elderly, so he's looking at, passing his property on to the younger generation, but feels that there's need for well-positioned houses in the county.
Absolutely.
yes,
And I think this is an unusual site in that it's right along a major paved road in the county with all the utilities right there.
yeah.
It's already served by water, gas, electric, and et cetera. So I've got a picture with an aerial photo as well as just a survey map. And happy to field any questions or concerns that you would like us to be aware of.
And each house is gonna sit on 3 acres?
Yes. Each lot as currently laid out is an
Does-
even 3 acres, abutting the 69 right-of-way on the west and Poplar Road right-of-way on the north.
Is he gonna build the houses on the lots? He's
No,
just gonna
he's
sell 3 acres
selling
to somebody,
tracts.
let them build the
Selling
house.
tracts, he probably will enact some restrictions in terms of what they can build and et cetera, just to
Right,
maintain some quality and
yeah. And then I would say, like on the culverts, each individual that buys a tract would have to get with Public Works and
Yes. And they'll
apply
get, and,
for
I
culverts,
mean,
just
we'll-
like we,
probably the.
but I don't see
same-
that as an issue.
Same process you have
Yeah,
for
yeah.
everybody.
everybody, yeah,
Yeah,
And,
I don't see that as an
It's-
issue. Actually,
that's great.
cool,
That's great. He's got our blessing.
yeah.
okay, well, we appreciate it, and, any questions, issues, feel free to keep as many of these copies as you'd like,
I think she needed one for her.
and, just reach out to us.
All right.
Live right at Uniontown, have for 77 years, with the exception of being away to college and service, and have traveled a lot in our business. We've done 10,000 plus projects in 40 states and 15 foreign countries. But I'm through most of that. So, okay?
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Tell him thank you for us. This is exactly what we need.
Well, thank you.
Carrie Welsh, you said couldn't show up?
Yeah, I couldn't get a hold of her. I was looking to see if she texted, so we'll just move her to another time.
Okay. Peggy Jackson.
Before we move
Fence-
on.
Oh, go ahead.
I believe that's the one that I was gonna hold off on because of, on the tentative date, to hear what they had to say, so hopefully we'll hear back
On
from
the
them
gov
soon.
deals?
On the auction.
Oh,
On the auctions, yeah.
So you let me know whenever you want to put that back on the agenda.
okay.
Does that work?
Yep.
I'll give me
Yep.
plenty of time to get her acquainted.
Okay. Nope, that's good. Okay. So Peggy Jackson fence viewing request.
Okay. I'd like to have a determination as to which end of the fence is mine and which end's my neighbor's. His cows are out all the time and refuses to fix the fence. I mean, I've documented 63 days that they've been out on my property. And I just need to know which end's mine and which end's his. According to common practice in this area, you stand on your property and the fence to the right is yours. Fence to the left is your neighbor's. But when I suggested this to him, he told me there was no such thing as your half and my half. And he has one cow that just plows through no matter what. So even if I put in a new fence, she's gonna tear it up.
Has a survey been done on the properties?
A survey, not that I know of.
Okay. Is it usually, like, when we have these issues, say at the city, we can't really intervene without a survey because they tell us concretely who has what.
Well,
But here they do
normally on a-
shared fencing in
On
the
the farm
county.
property, the fence usually runs right down the middle of the property line.
I
And
guess
and
the
it should be a 50-50 split. I mean, but do you even have any livestock up against that fence?
I don't. No.
Is this county property?
In the county.
No, is it on the county right of way?
No.
No, it's personal
It's a
property.
private issue that you and your neighbor will have to work out. The county doesn't really have any ability to assist either side if it's a private property issue.
It's a civil.
What I was reading on that statute, that's what she's asking for is, I don't know. First time I've ever seen it, so,
I mean, even by state statute, I think it's a 50-50 split.
yeah.
But
it
only
talks
if,
about, and we have a resolution too that governs the size of the fence and all that, and then fence
it
viewing.
has to be a
That's
five,
what-
has to be a
You
5-strand
familiar
barbed
with
wire
fence viewing?
fence.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And I'm not
That's
gonna
what
get
I
into
was
the
told by
distances and
him.
the,
That's what-
and the
Yeah,
inches, but
when it comes into damages and things like that, becomes a civil issue
Right, but-
that a court is gonna have to
It's
settle.
a-
We
it-
couldn't do that.
if there's agricultural products on both
Yeah.
sides, so she has beans and he has cows,
I've dealt with it.
the fence is 50-50.
I have hay.
If there's only agriculture going on one side and they're getting in her yard, she has no obligation to fix it.
I'm not saying she does.
Or
I'm
state
saying when
statute.
you've got two people that aren't
Right,
agreeing
yeah,
on things and
no.
there's a monetary value, it's a civil issue that's gotta go to court.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, on these issues, if it doesn't involve the county right of way, it's an issue between the two landowners. There are some fence statutes and there's fence law. The county's involvement in that is usually pretty limited, so, most of the time when this has come up in the past that I've been involved, it's an issue that you and your neighbor have to work out. If you can't, then you, I guess, each get your own lawyers and figure it out.
I don't want any money, and I don't want him to prepare the fence repair the fence. I just want to know which half is mine, which half is his. So if I decide to put in my half new, I'll know which half is mine and which half is his.
You know, you're asking the county commissioners to be the judge and jury, and that's not their, they don't have any jurisdiction over the private property.
Okay. All
So,
right, that's fine.
that may be not what you wanna hear, and maybe I'm the bad guy here, but, these three can't judge and tell your neighbor to do something and you do something if it's a private property issue. If it involved a county road or a county right of way, different story. But if it's a private property issue, then the two landowners have to figure it out or let the courts figure it out. Sorry.
Well, it's not worth that. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, sorry we couldn't be more
I
help.
mean, that's, yeah.
They may speak up, but that's the law.
Okay. Mr. Brad Matkin, executive session.
So are you gonna, we wanna make a motion?
Well, hold on. B4, so to discuss data relating to financial affairs or trade secrets of corporations, partnerships, trusts, and individual proprietorships. How long do you need us, sir?
10 minutes.
And who do you want in it?
Just you three's fine.
Okay. So, we will go into executive session, Mr. Brad Matkin and the three commissioners for 10 minutes for KSA 75-4319B4 to discuss data relating to financial affairs or trade secrets of corporations, partnerships, trusts, and individual proprietorships for 10 minutes. We will be back at 6:07. And that is my motion.
Second.
Krueger,
Yes.
Beerbauer,
Yes.
Yes.
They'll probably need some more, 10 minutes.
He did.
Thank you, Brad.
Back with no action.
Yep, we'll resume session, no action at this time. All right. Department update. Susan Walker.
I'm finalizing financials for the end of 2024. And I just have a few questions that I wanted to go through. Since most of you are kind of new to this process, I highlighted in blue everything that will budgeted funds. So we have to abide by a budget law and then also a cash basis law. And so most of the ones in blue, I've already double checked to make sure that we didn't violate any budget laws. However, we have some cash things that we need to kind of go over. In the far right-hand part of the sheet, it'll say surplus or deficit. And what that means is what we anticipated as a budgeted carryover for 25. That's what we start the year out with. That'll tell you if we're starting out short or long. But that unencumbered cash column is really the column that we need to focus in on. And the general fund was the one I was most concerned about. And I also, when I sent out the report, I sent out this revenue and expense report. So by fund, you can tell what departments may have saved some money and what departments may have overspent. And so you have to look at this from, and we'll talk more about this when we get into the budget discussions, but these are individual funds. So when you look at cash reserves, you're looking at each fund individually. And so the auditor will tell you, you need to have 3 to 6 months of cash reserves. And I think we've all talked about this. We're way away. We are not close to that. So we need to save as much money as we possibly can. General fund came in a lot better. And that was due to, we had several departments that saved money. They didn't spend more. They just gave back to the county. We had some other departments that didn't do that. We had to transfer from the appraiser fund and also the sheriff's fund because there was not enough budget authority. They had cash in those funds, but they didn't have the budget authority to spend those dollars. So you ended up moving about $53,000 from the sheriff's fund into the general fund. And we had anticipated there being a zero balance at the beginning of the year. And we had talked about this when we were making all those transfers of whether or not you wanted to move the remaining cash that's sitting in that fund back to the general fund. And if that's the case, I'll need to know now before I close out the year. And so there's $31,000 sitting there right now. Again, we had anticipated zero. And so that would help cover what you had to move to the general fund in expenses, part of it. You'd still have about $20,000. So if I put it in a different way, different context, let's say he had the budget authority to spend everything, and that $53,000 that we moved to the general fund stayed in that fund, then there would be a $20,000 deficit because there wouldn't be enough cash there. So if you make that decision, I'll need to know that before I close out 2024. We know why the appraiser had some troubles, and that was because of the NRP. Most of the other funds, I do not find any major concerns other than the election fund. We were anticipating having more money there. We are really struggling to recover funds. And we also had a big election last year. This year, well, we won't have as big of an election, so we might be able to save some dollars there. If you go on down to the landfill, which is towards the bottom, there's $53,000 deficit. We were hoping to have about $210,000. And we do have some state statutes that require us to have a certain amount in there in case the landfill were to close. And I think that amount, don't quote me, but it's somewhere in the $250,000 range. So we're ways off from that because we ended up the year with $157,000. So that's something we need to work towards. And I think we'll be able to obtain that. I think this is our last year of having to pay off our bond. And so the next year we'll be able to recover about $30,000. The other thing I want to go over real quickly is, if you'll notice in yellow, each one of those are stated differently. You have general fund, you have special purpose funds, you have business funds, you have trust funds, and you have agency funds. Anything that is listed under the agency funds are just flow through. Those really aren't your dollars to even address.
We collect them and give them.
That's right. Those are tax dollars that come in and then they get distributed back out to your taxing entities. So you can't look at the bottom line unencumbered cash and say, I have $17 million in the bank, because you don't. You have to really focus in on this first page. That is the main funds that you have, and so clear down through the trust funds. So really that's what you're using for operational funds. When we have our budget discussions, I'll talk more in depth about who oversees each fund. So the sheriff has funds, the county appraiser has funds, the county attorney has funds, and some of those are dedicated sources based on statute. So we'll go in more depth about that when we have our budget discussions. So this is where we're going to end up at the end of the year. The only thing I have questions about is whether or not you want me to do that transfer. If you don't, then I'll just finish closing up and we'll be ready for audit.
So on that transfer, that's a $31,130.25. And if we don't transfer it, what happens?
It just stays in that fund, the sheriff's fund.
And then he can't use it though unless it's budgeted for next.
He'll have to have a budget amendment, or you can exceed your budget by reimbursables. And so if he happened to have a bunch of reimbursables coming in for housing or something like that, then he could exceed his budget by that amount and spend those dollars. Generally, if you have extra cash coming in through a year, you have to do a budget amendment to have the authority to spend it. That's just general.
Okay. And he's not here, is he?
Yeah, I think he's here.
Yeah, the sheriff's out there.
I know we don't, I mean, it doesn't matter. Because we'll have to have that talk when we have budget talks anyway, so.
Yeah. The only reason why I suggested it is because you moved $53,000 of expenses into the general fund, and this would help cover that.
Well,
Yeah,
and if we move it, then we can pretty much dictate where it goes from there.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it kind of just goes into your overall cash. So,
I guess I was paged.
well, I mean, we're discussing some money that was left over in your fund, one of your funds.
Money left over in one of my funds.
Huh?
Money left over in one of my funds.
Yeah, in the general fund.
it's in your normal operating fund, Fund 120. And I wouldn't say that it's necessarily leftover money, because had the expenses stayed in his fund, he would have been in a deficit of $20,000, but he didn't have the budget authority to keep those funds there, so you had to move them to the general fund.
Right. And I just, before we made a decision, or at least before I made a decision, I wanted to see. So, I mean, but on this money here, it's just, he can use it if we keep it in there.
Yes.
And I know they can always use it. So,
That is a decision that I just have to present you all the options. So that's your guys' decision.
And that money could go towards, his upcoming budget, in case he's needing a budget hike that he wouldn't have to ask for?
Yeah,
Or
could.
But
Where's this money coming from? I'm kind of lost. Where's this?
it's a general, it says it's a county sheriff correctional general fund.
It's your financial statements that I sent to your advisor. And it shows that you have $31,000, but we weren't able, we had to move $53,000 of expenses from your fund to the general fund because you didn't have enough budget authority to do that. Yeah, so there was cash there that could have covered it, but because we didn't have the budget authority, we had to move the expenses. So otherwise you'd have a budget violation.
When was that sent? Which, when you say, is that Murphy or would that be Baker Tilly? Which,
Who?
Consultant, I think it was Baker Tilly.
Baker Tilly?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that where you sent the financials to?
Yeah, that's who you asked me to send them to. Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to make
Yeah.
sure. Okay. Because I haven't been in contact with him and he hasn't reached out to me, so that's something I need to follow up.
Yeah, I
with.
think you're on all the emails between us.
Yeah, I need to follow up with him. He hasn't reached out to me or had any questions, so that'll be something I can call and talk about tomorrow.
But if that's left in there, he doesn't have the budget authority to spend it.
No,
'Cause
right,
we already
correct.
gave him his budget, so
That's
then we'd
correct.
be in the same thing next year.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Because let's say he has a big housing hike and he's got a bunch of money coming in. He can exceed his budget by the amount. So if he has
Because
$100,000.
he has reimbursables or
Yes.
whatever.
Since I
Yes.
have revenues coming in.
But as far as his general fund,
Yeah. I mean, if you want to
You
be
don't
quite
have-
honest, you don't have authority to even have him in his own separate fund. It really should be in the general fund, everything, all of his stuff, because unless you adopt a resolution stating that his fund should be separated out like it is and has been for several years, it really is part of the general fund. All his revenues, all of his expenses, everything should be in the general fund. But
just-
years ago,
so
they
we don't-
separated it out.
so we don't, so,
And the reason
So-
why they separated it out because of my budget's being set, we don't know what's gonna happen. So
Right.
it's better off to keep me separated, because everybody else, you basically have that control over what's going on. So my suggestion or advice would leave it as is,
So-
keep it separate.
right, no, I don't have a problem having
Okay.
it separate on the paper. I'm not, that's not.
And at some point, we're going to have to address that through a resolution.
We can do a
Yeah.
resolution to make sure his stuff stays separate. from-
And once the budget and stuff, we have, with the advisor, in-house advisor, that's there working every day, and question the deputy advisor. We have come up with some ideas that we want to sit down when it comes budget time, to put this money in separate locations so that we don't have issues like this. We know exactly where it's going. So that's something that we'll be looking at.
I guess I don't follow
this-
exactly where what's going.
We'll bring it up during the next meeting when we do budgets. We're still
but-
figuring out ways.
But moving this 31,130 back into the general fund
Would cover
doesn't
the-
affect his budget this year.
Correct. It covers that 53,000 that you moved in expenses.
Okay. Well, since it doesn't affect his budget,
And it can be split up.
Yes. Yeah, you can move it wherever you want.
I meant,
Yeah.
we could leave some in there and move part of it, that is what I'm asking. Susan, if we decided to, we could move portions of it. Or does
well,
it
yeah,
all
but the
have
thing
to be?
is that it doesn't.
to the general fund, and then once you get in the general fund, then you can determine what you want to do with it.
We can, the thing is that it doesn't affect this year's budget, because that budget's set.
Right.
And he can't spend that much extra money because he doesn't have the budget authority.
Yeah, I realize all
So
that.
the
I
best thing
just
to do with
wanted to know
that
if
is
we
to
could
roll
see
it
if it
back
could be
into the
split.
general fund.
I'm following.
And let him run his
He
budget he's
could,
got
he
this
could
year.
make it a budget amendment to be able to spend that.
No,
money.
that was last year. He
That
would have
was
had to
last
done it
year.
last year. And
Okay.
I did send requests asking if there needed to be a budget amendment, and I didn't get a response.
Okay.
I mean, you guys have already set his budget for this
Yeah.
year, right? So.
Well, they
he-
did,
He
yeah.
can do a budget amendment for this year. This is last year's money, right?
Right.
Yeah, so we just, I make a motion that we move that 31,130.25 back into the general fund,
Then that's fine.
since it doesn't affect the sheriff's current budget.
I will second
And
that,
then
because of some other stuff that we may or may not be have going on here soon.
Okay. Any questions, any discussion?
Okay, I think I don't have an issue moving it as long as we have a discussion as to where it's gonna go once it reaches the
That's
general
We have
fund.
to, yeah.
We'll just
Okay.
roll into the general fund from
All right.
now on.
Well, you don't have the budget authority to spend it either, so
Right.
either way, you're gonna have to have those discussions,
Yeah,
so.
okay.
Beerbauer,
Yes,
Wizenhunt,
Yes.
Kruger.
Yes.
thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, Bill.
I do have one other thing that has come up this week. I'm gonna pass out, I've given you this resolution already. I just need some clarity because we've got a lot of confusion between departments. And so you guys are just gonna have to rule on it or repeal, I don't know what you're gonna do. Anyway, in the past, when we've had a snow day and we've shut down the courthouse, this resolution states that you'll pay 1.5 times for the designated essential required personnel when they're working towards that time. And there's, on the second sheet, it tells you who those people are. Those are essential law enforcement, public works, EMS, and the landfill. Those are all considered essential based on this resolution. How my office, when we're looking at payroll, how we look at it is you shut down the courthouse for a snow day for 5 hours. Everybody came in and worked 3 hours and then we sent them home because the snow got so bad. So those 5 hours would be time and a half for these essential workers. And then the rest of their time that they worked is straight time. Now, if it happened to be, because there's another sentence down here that talks about double time. If it happened to be on a weekend, so they've got their 40 hours in and we've got somebody working on a Saturday and they're gonna get overtime, then they're gonna get double time if that were the case. But just because somebody worked late on a Tuesday night doesn't mean that they're in overtime status. Overtime status is after 40 hours for EMS and Public Works, and then it's different for public safety. So I just want clarity because we're running payroll this week and we've had a lot of discussions around this. And so I just want to know how you interpret this resolution.
How many essential versus non-essential employees do you have?
A lot. We've got
I mean,
40 in
for that
Public
storm,
Works.
We had pretty much,
I mean, if it's a natural
All
disaster.
hands.
It's
something like
about
that.
everybody except for maybe the 20 that work in this courthouse. So, and if they weren't on duty, if they're not on duty, they don't get this pay. They have to be scheduled for work to get this pay. Is the way we've
Or
always
have to be
handled
called in
it.
'cause it's
Or called in
emergency.
because of the storm, yes.
Right.
So really what we're talking about is the 5 hours. So I just need to know. This is a discussion every time we have the courthouse closed down. It's always
I'll
a
just make a resolution that
mess.
we don't close the courthouse anymore, ever, except for Saturday and Sunday.
Works for me. I'm here anyway.
not,
Department head.
not
I gotta
this
go,
week,
I gotta go to work when it snows and ices. I don't understand the problem.
Well,
Department heads can,
elected officials can.
elected officials can decide to, because I wouldn't want someone to get hurt coming in to file a deed.
Most of the time, counties close courthouses not to protect the employees,
It's
but
to
to
protect the
protect the
public.
public from possibly falling or something happening.
Right.
It's really not
Right.
generally a protection for the employees, it's more.
it's a benefit
Yeah.
of it closing,
Yeah.
protecting our employees.
I mean, I don't understand what's so hard to understand about this. And it says,
I mean, if you follow my logic and you guys agree with that, then that's how we'll pay it out. And if you want to revisit this when we do the handbook,
Say it
that's
again,
fine.
'cause I-
So courthouse people work 8 hours. We came in and worked 3 hours. So 5 of those hours, we didn't work, but we got paid for it.
Right,
So anybody that was working during those 5 hours would get time and a half.
and that's how I read the resolution here, they didn't.
so, I mean,
So any essential employees would get paid time and a half for the 5 hours that you guys got paid straight time for
Right.
because you went home.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple to understand. I mean,
I want clarity
well, I
because my
mean,
office is the one that cuts payroll, and so I want to make sure everybody's on
Yeah,
the same
no.
page.
I would say as it's written right now, that's the way it should be. And then we're working on handbooks and that type
We'll
of stuff.
revisit it. Okay.
And
Yeah,
then-
we can revisit it as we're going through
And then, I mean, that's,
budget restraints and handbook and,
when we start talking about pay scale and overtime and that stuff coming up,
I say we revisit it, cause looking at the highlighted portion of
yeah.
page 2, there's one on there that doesn't quite make sense to me.
Right.
on page
Right.
2.
I read it, yeah.
The only time I think that would come into play is if you have high winds and there's a lot of debris that has to be removed. That's where that comes in. I know. I think that's what the reasoning was. You're talking about the landfill, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I understand law enforcement and EMS
Yeah.
and road crews and things like that.
Well,
but-
we don't,
Well, I would say with the landfill.
and correct me if I'm wrong, but during this snowstorm, the landfill was open for business, correct? So, I mean, they had to be there and, for trash services to come in regardless of what the weather was like. So, I mean,
Most businesses
they
in
didn't have
town
a
are
choice,
open.
like where we shut down the courthouse, they didn't have a choice out there because
Well, I would say with the landfill, if he calls them and tells them to go to work, then I guess they would be considered essential. He thought he had to have them there, so.
and I think they even ran loads out that day. Yeah. Yeah, so.
Okay. I mean, we just leave it like it is for now. We can
Right.
visit it at a later date.
Okay.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. The next is the Bob Johnson executive session.
No, Laura.
Oh, no, Laura, sorry.
Skip over me.
Sorry. I closed my eyes.
It said, no, you're not. I just have a couple of things, and, let me give you, and you guys will probably have to share that. So I don't think I made
Which
enough.
one is this?
This is
Probably already
out
seen it. You got a copy of it.
by 105th.
Is this the easement?
Yes.
Okay.
But we found a way with the landowner that was blocked because he couldn't get down the road here at 105th because, I mean, there's cars down into
Yeah.
the ditch and everything else, going down 105th. He stated that the county, Road and Bridge has done a really good job cleaning up here. You can see my blue here, cleaning this up, and so he can get his equipment through here, because he's landlocked.
Right.
The other landowner over here is willing to give him an easement if something should else come up. But we'd like to close the rest of the road of 105th and 95th all the way up to Maple for the simple fact that it's not an open road now. It was an intended road that might have been opened at one point in time, but it is not now. And if people come down that road to where that ditch is, and they fly off of that, because it's not an open road, I mean, it's still an open road, somebody's gonna get hurt. And we would need several landowners, but we have talked to several of them, and they are all for having
Closing that
this
section of that road.
closing the section of the road. We have one landowner that he wants to make sure, for sure, that it's past where his driveway goes.
Is there signage on that road now?
No,
There's no signage.
there's no signage that says road closed, or you wouldn't even know that it is a road unless you are intentionally going down there. So,
So you're saying the one landowner is concerned,
he just wants to make sure that we don't
It's only
close
closed
it.
past his driveway?
Yeah, we don't want to close it too far past, where his driveway is.
well, I know I would say
we
we
wouldn't
would,
close
we would
it.
want to get up to, or emergency vehicles or anything like that would want to get to that driveway, so.
Correct.
I would say that would be, necessary to,
That also means you have to maintain it.
yeah,
Right,
yeah,
if we don't close it.
just that
And-
section.
What's your thoughts, Eric?
Correct. And there's no way, we'd have to build a bridge to get across where part of this is.
Where his driveway's at?
No,
No.
down the road a ways.
Yeah.
I think that drop off's about a quarter of a mile from the other road. Might be a little farther now, but
And the reason this came up is because one landowner stopped giving the
right away to the
the
other.
right of way to the farmer. Because the owners doesn't even live here.
But we've got him a road cut in there now, or like a path cut in there now.
Yeah,
Coming this way here as long as the river's not out, and then the other guy.
this gentleman here this is the old railroad right of way.
So I remember talking about that. at one
He's
point.
willing to give him
That
an
right-
easement,
An easement.
On that railroad track, or the old railroad bed.
so he's not landlocked by
Okay.
any of this. The only portion
I
that we're
guess-
looking to close is,
Is the actual part that's not really a road anymore.
right, and that's not an actual road. We want to make sure that it stays on the road record
Everybody knows.
as being
Okay.
open.
I mean, I guess you bring us the signed forms, we can talk about it then. I'm okay with closing it up to that point. I mean,
Which,
nobody drives it anyway except the local landowners, so.
There's a statutory provision to close roads that have been open. If they're section line roads, it's different than non-section line roads. You have to give notice, put notice in the paper, notice to
Right.
landowners. I've done it before. It's kind of like a tax sale. It takes a lot of work, but it isn't that hard. So if that's what you want to do, and Register of Deeds wants to get the legals put together, it's not that difficult. There's some costs involved, 'cause you have to give notice and things like that. As far as the other part, just so you guys know, if you have a 2-track somewhere and it's been used for 15 years, it's a prescriptive easement. So there's already an easement there, so that's not really a county deal. It can be a county deal depending on the issue. But if somebody's been using a 2-track for 15 plus years, there's already an easement there, even if there's not one filed. So when you guys talk about this landowner gave this easement or that easement,
But he hadn't been using the track before, cause he had easement through
No.
somebody else's
Okay.
property.
okay.
right,
So, but if the guy's gonna give him easement on that old rail line,
Sure.
then there's no harm in closing that road.
No.
So I guess, I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I get everything
Okay.
put together and we'll make a motion to close it at that
okay.
point.
And get
It takes
In
a little, it
touch.
takes a little time, and you have to get the legal descriptions and everything.
in all the landowners that it would involve
Yeah.
and get
No,
them,
as long as they sign the piece of paper saying it's okay, we can,
That'd be-
you do your part, and we'll do our part.
okay? And we have another one here that's kind of the road got moved at some point in time. And
How dare you, Eric?
I'm gonna go back.
we have a survey that the gentleman had done, but when the road got moved, it got moved over enough that this landowner here has almost 2 acres, and it goes right up to
The neighbor's front door.
this neighbor's front door and goes across his driveway and everything. This one may be a difficult one. How we take care of it, I'm not for sure, because he bails this and he says he gets quite a bit of
Who
hay
builds
off
it?
it.
The one that has the house or the one that has
The other gentleman.
The guy who actually got a little bit of land
Yeah.
accidentally stolen from him by the government.
And this was done many, many, many years.
Many years ago. It was long before any of us were
Overreaching
around.
government.
Yeah, but there's been problems and feuds and
Right.
everything.
Well, how are we supposed to handle that?
Well, earlier,
obviously we
I
can't
just
move
like
the road over
defense
any
viewing,
farther.
I thought it was the
We can't-
commissioners that would try to do something and then, Robert
We can't
was
move the road over any
kinda,
farther because then it's in their driveway.
Who moved the road?
I'm not for
When
sure.
did they move the road?
My understanding was it was the county.
It was the county that
How long ago?
Was it in the eighties?
about 87, 88,
Eighties or eighties?
yeah.
Is it a problem now?
I would probably say this is one of those issues that maybe she could email it to me and I could report back to you.
Put some thought into it.
Rather than shoot from the hip, maybe we could study a
Yeah,
little
this
bit.
needs to be-
If it happened 30 years ago, another couple of weeks won't matter a lot.
No.
Right, no,
So if somebody calls me on it, I can say, we're working on it.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah,
right. So,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, since we got our council here, I'm gonna go ahead and go off the cuff here, but Hidden Valley, homeowners association we have out by me, decided to open up their north entrance. They put a tube in the ground and their tube is in Lynn County.
Sounds like a Lynn County problem.
Lynn County wants to make it a Bourbon
Except that
County.
according to the state, because all the homeowners in Hidden Valley pay their taxes to Bourbon County, it's technically a Bourbon County problem, and they made it a Lynn County problem because they put their tube in the wrong spot.
No.
Did you talk to Lynn County today?
I haven't, nobody contacted me from Lynn
I
County.
believe their attorney is going to contact our attorney.
Okay.
on the situation.
So there you go.
That's a good solution
And,
to that.
and see what they can get worked out and then.
Well, and my solution was, is I was gonna have
I don't know.
Hidden Valley's HOA pay for a survey and tell them you make sure the survey is on Bourbon County side, and then we will gladly come out and help you reset your tube,
A tube, you mean like
the
a?
culvert tube
Okay.
for their drive. Which,
Make sure it's on, there's a lot of,
yeah, it's,
They
it does-
closed that about 15 years ago.
They said it was 12.
12,
Yeah, so
okay.
you was close.
Well,
That's,
Well,
I knew
mean,
Ron was up there, but
From a common sense standpoint, I mean, if everybody out there pays Bourbon County property taxes and systematic resetting a culvert, that might be an easy.
Well, how much of the land is Lynn County?
No, it's all Bourbon.
no, so
all
everything
Bourbon
in Hidden
County.
Valley is Bourbon County.
But right there, yeah.
But coming
Just
out
the
the north
culvert's
entrance
not.
goes onto the state, on the county line, and where they put their culvert, they was across the county line.
How much?
2/3 of their culvert is in Lynn County, and only 1/3 of it is in Bourbon County. They swear,
I'm not, I was just gonna be
they
a smart
swear, they
ass.
swear up and down, they put it in the
Let
exact
go.
same spot they took it out of 12 years ago, but I
So
don't,
what's the issue? Is it not put in right? Or?
They didn't.
they didn't contact Lynn County,
Oh.
didn't get any permits.
they didn't get any permits and stuff like
A
that.
lot of
So I guess
property
you'll
owners
be
against it.
visiting with the,
We'll
and
get it, we'll get it figured out.
And Lynn County property owners that live outside the lake are mad now, cause that's open,
Oh, yeah.
which those people don't concern me.
and it
Concerns Lynn
is
County, though.
on Zinc Road, and that particular portion of Zinc, Lynn County maintains.
Maintained, yeah.
We do
I know
not
that.
maintain
I
that portion.
personally know the blade operator.
Can you send me an email with
I sure can.
I imagine we can figure it
But
out.
if their council's gonna contact you, then we'll just let you guys handle it
That
and you
was
get back to
a
us.
phone conversation.
Who is it?
I
They don't have one yet.
It used to be Gary Thompson.
I just.
I
I seen it on the
don't think
website,
so.
they're looking for one.
Oh,
Maybe you can get a job up there too, and then you can just contact yourself about it.
be an easy fix, wouldn't it?
before the next item
Yeah,
break.
yeah, no, I think we're ready for our executive session, but,
No, I got a couple more things.
you do? Okay.
I'm not done,
Keep on,
I'm
keep
not
on,
done
come
yet.
Come on.
I guess it did say roads in plural, so.
Yeah, roads and legacy.
Going on that?
No.
Yep,
Let me go get mine.
okay. He's gonna get some paperwork, so then I'll go over this that I'm talking about with legacy. We had a survey done months and months ago that they were going to, I think EMS also thought that they were just gonna give us lot 4, but they didn't give us
Pretty
lot
much just
4.
gave the building, well, they haven't given us anything back yet.
We have not, they have not done anything. Mr. Meek, the former county counselor, stood in my office and said before he left here, he would have that deed done. And it is not done yet. And I've contacted the former counselor, I've contacted the contact person at Legacy, and, you know, right now, it's still in their name. You know, and for somebody who owes over $20,000 in back taxes, I think that they need to get that deed to us ASAP. Since it's been,
I think I've talked to one or two of you about that. So I'll get ahold of Mr. Mann and see what we'll have to do.
Okay.
That's legacy.
Legacy
He'll know what I'm
Holdings or
talking
about.
Legacy
Yeah.
Medical or
Yeah.
Legacy something, I don't know. Legacy Development, yeah. Legacy
and I have a
Development
question
is
for you on roads pertaining to Legacy as to why, I don't know if you've read the contract that they supposedly signed with the other commissioners as to, one, we gave them that, the hospital where the lot is, and they sold it. So just going off of, and I can't tell you what they sold it for, it's not public record, but the county has it appraised at $3 million. And we gave them $2 million on top of that. Yeah, so that's $5 million right there. And why aren't we going after, like, some of the things that were said during campaigning? Why aren't we going after the rest of those lots? They're not paying their taxes. They sold the property that they got for free. We can't even get them to give us a deed. Why aren't we? Because some of this was stated during campaigning that you were going after them to get the lots back. So I don't know, you can set on that so we can discuss it with the attorney. I don't, you know,
Yeah.
it's just one of those things that, you know, now they're clearing it out there and it looks terrible. And my opinion of the former commissioners are that,
Well, it'll be dependent upon what the written agreement is, and if there's a reservation on the deed, it doesn't matter what was said in open meeting, it's gonna depend on the written contract and the deed, so I don't know, I'll have to look at that. I haven't saw it.
I think her question is, can the county give away property?
yeah, can they just give it away?
Sounds like they did.
Well, they did, just because they did, is that legal? And shouldn't it have been, I mean, they made
entities give away
Money.
property all the time for economic development issues. I mean, that's very common. I don't know anything about this. I don't even know what legacy is, so I guess I'm gonna have to figure it out.
I guess we'll send you a copy of some contracts.
Yeah. I don't know.
I can do that.
Okay. More roads?
One
I love
more.
roads.
And I don't know if you want to discuss this one or not, because you said this one may be a legal issue up on 95th and Unique.
He says he was, got an attorney and he said he was gonna,
Has he contacted us has his attorney contacted us about it?
Not me.
he's
So you have,
not,
everything comes through the clerk, so I guess we're still okay to talk about it until,
Okay.
we just won't use no names, we'll just talk about
Yeah,
the area.
you want me to tell you what?
good.
Okay, back in July 6th of '21, the commission at that time asked me to look into the situation at 95th and Unique. We looked into the map, we used the 89 map, which was our base map that we go off of, and according to the 89 map, brought back to the commission on July 13th of 2021, that there is 1,056 feet of Unique opened up to the west off of 95th. And that allows everyone to get into their property.
Okay,
So that's,
And
so,
he's wanting us to maintain the entire road,
yes.
clear up to his house,
Yes, and I get where he's coming from.
because, just because they used to, that is not a road,
Right, that has not been a road since
Never.
86.
I think there's been some past practices of maybe blading some driveways or what have you that were
Right.
not platted roads, but my policy is that if it's not a platted road, and not owned by the county, that
Just
we are
in-
not.
And just out of curiosity, and you may not know for sure, but how often does he blade that 1,056 feet?
Probably max twice a year, because we consider it a low
Because there's
maintenance.
two people drive up and down it.
Yeah.
Where the landowner is coming from is that when his kids were in school, the bus driver used to go up there and turn around. So the grader maintained it for the bus route. I'm pretty sure once his kids no longer went to school and rode the bus, they went back to they probably even quit doing it altogether, but since we never technically closed that last 1,000 feet, we had to start at least maintaining that, because it was still considered.
But it's his
That
driveway.
last 1,000 had to stay open in order for everyone to have access.
In
to
order,
the
so
property.
nobody was landlocked. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's,
So-
Most counties will maintain roads that are part of the bus route, even if it isn't a county road.
Right.
That's pretty common.
And that's what they did when his kid, that's just where they picked his kids up and they turned around and they went back whatever
So
direction.
the 1,056 feet goes up to this person's
It does not go,
driveway.
it does not go
it-
up to,
it
it
goes
goes up to
1,000.
the other land right here.
There's one more entrance up there into that landlocked. Now, we could-
Otherwise, he would
we
be
could-
landlocked.
We could technically fix the whole problem, close the whole road down and give the person with the field
But it's not a road, it's his driveway. It is not a road.
we could close down the 1,000 feet and just put the guy that's landlocked, the entrance right there.
I don't think he can get to it.
Oh, we can't get to it at all?
He has to go up this.
He has to go up the
He
1,000
has
feet.
to go up
Okay.
this driveway.
So,
That's why we,
I mean, my ruling until we're told different is just blade the 1,056 feet and
That's the best, that's the
I mean, that's, and what if, I guess if he reaches out again, I guess if he reaches out again, what I can tell him is if, by state statute, if you want the road open back up to your house, then you have to build it up to county standards, and then we will maintain it after that. I mean, we're not responsible for opening up a closed road. If he wants it open, he can do the work, get it built up, and then we'll continue to maintain it after that. I mean, because that's state statute, I don't have to,
Sounds fair.
I mean,
okay, because I just
so, but other than that, just
Drew up-
1,056 feet.
measured up some that were longer than his that we don't maintain, so just,
Cheaper in the long run, no matter how you look at it.
so.
Keep blading it
And
twice a year.
I guess that is all that I had. I will get some stuff sent to you on this. And, what do I need to send you for legacy? Well, she's gonna send you some
Why
stuff.
don't you two get together?
I think it starts off with the original contract.
I just
and then that
want
determines everything
the
from there
deed.
on out.
to get fixed.
Yeah.
So EMS can have that building. I mean, that
I
was
agree.
the main thing.
We have to remodel it, put the rooms in there.
Here's the, I don't know, I'll pass, that's the survey. And we need, you know, this portion, and they're gonna keep the rest of lot 4.
Ms. Holdridge, are you done?
Yeah, you can, or if you want to, so. But I've done enough damage for that. I'll get you the information on that one. And,
Contract one signed at the table.
get you the information on this one.
Yeah,
Is that it? Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So
3 minutes, 5
we're
minutes?
gonna take a 5-minute break,
Yeah, you're welcome.
so we'll be back at 6:57.
I'll second. No, I didn't think we did. No, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Give us see him.
Sorry, I didn't get over here in time. Trial in Paducah. What's that?
Dirty Z word. You got that email, didn't you? That rough throw you go. That it is. That it is. It probably will for another couple of years.
I understand how, what I felt. So you said that sometimes they don't, that were there.
A lot of counties don't really worry about closing roads, even if they don't maintain them, just because it's such a dangerous. But, I mean, it's not.
Okay, because I know you have to notify.
You have to notify adjacent. I mean, it's easier to close a road than just open it.
Yes.
A lot of places out west, you know, there was a statute, I think it's still in place, that basically opened every section of the road. If you're on a section line, it used to be that was road. So whether the county maintained it or not was an issue. But like Bourbon County has a lot of weird roads, just the landscape of the rivers, the creeks, and lakes. You get out west where they don't have any water, and it's just square.
Yeah. We have a road that,
Make sure those all get signed, and then you need to sign, there's a front and back on every one of these.
We all gotta sign them?
Sign all those, you just have to sign these. So while you're back there in executive session, front and back.
but I think it was because the school was there.
I've had some litigation cases south of Uniontown, they forgot to inspect property, and it's like, you gotta take a helicopter.
Yeah. That's so right.
Go down these roads and it's like a creek at the bottom of the road, no bridge.
All of us have looked pretty
Seriously, I'm already struggling sitting in a chair.
scary.
Get with me and I'll
All
help
right, back in session.
You're gonna break your hammer.
Huh?
I said you're gonna break your hammer.
It's not a hammer, it's a gavel.
Gavel.
you. Need a bigger guy.
I do. I need about a 5-pound sledge is what I need.
There you go.
All right, so Bob Johnson, executive session. KSA 75-4319, B2, for consultation with the attorney for the public body of agency which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship for 30 minutes.
You want them?
The council and the 3 commissioners. So we will be back at, I can't do that kind of math, 7:28. You wanna come knock on the door? I mean, I think I figured out how to work that time, but I'll be late.
I need a second.
Second. I was following.
I could change the March 12th budget meeting. Could we do it March 10th and then figure out what to do? Would that work?
Yeah, there was a work session that we were gonna do on March
Yeah.
12th.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would assume that, I mean, we do it all on March 10th and then we can,
Okay.
yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Change the budget work session to March
Yeah,
10th is okay?
we can decide, yeah,
And can we change that time as well
yeah.
to
5:30?
What works for you?
5:30, yeah?
Okay.
So next Monday,
Next Monday
the 10th?
at 5:30?
Oh, I'm had it in my head about the one that's coming up that's at 4 o'clock.
That was on the 12th. That's what she's asking for us to do
Yeah.
away
Yeah,
with.
that'd be
Yeah,
great.
so it'll be
Hoping I'm
regular,
getting the state.
Postpone, yeah.
regular meeting time on the 10th.
Yeah, 5:30, and
Yeah.
we'll do our
Yeah,
payables
no,
and payroll,
like-
and we'll go right into a work session.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I will, yeah, we can do that.
Send them out in emails for me, because it's out, I remember to write them down, thank you.
Yep, I'll get that. And then, do you want one on the 12th, or just cancel that one? Okay?
Yeah, we'll just cancel the one on the 12th.
And the 19th, are we having one?
I would say let's decide on the 10th if we're, because then we'll know going into the budget how we're gonna want
Okay,
to
so I'll need to make that as a,
tentative,
yes, I'll put that
Yeah.
as an action item on the agenda
yeah.
for the 19th. Right now, I just have that there's one, that's when that one company was coming.
Yeah,
Right.
advance.
On the 19th?
Yeah,
Okay, then maybe we probably,
leave that one.
oh, that's that,
We need
advance.
to,
Advance, so
we need to make a comment on that tonight.
Yeah, we need to
Okay,
make a
you guys just let me
comment.
know on that one.
Okay.
Okay.
You want me to?
You, I'll let you,
Okay.
Okay, so is that everything?
That's
yeah.
all I had, I just needed.
Okay. Commissioner comments?
I'll go first and bring
Okay.
that up.
Okay.
That meeting with, the solar, that needs to be put on as just a public meeting. That's not
It's not
something-
really a work session.
It's not gonna be a work session. The three of us will not be in attendance.
Okay.
With everything that's going on and things that we're working on, we're not gonna, associate ourselves with them at this point in time.
Okay, so do we even need to have it?
Well, they wanted
It was more for the public anyways. So,
And it just be known that if they do use the courthouse, that it's just, it's, well, if they
That's-
do, we just want everybody to know that it's not our work session, it's not our, we're not endorsing it, we're not involved with it whatsoever.
So if they wanted to change venue, then that would be on them. I
Okay,
mean,
I don't have a contact. Do I need to have a contact, or are we just gonna,
I will give you
okay.
that guy's contact information.
The only other comment that I have, I just want to put it out there that when we do have this auction for the medical equipment, we're gonna need loads of help, with people moving items, helping with the auction, someone being secretary over the auction, things like that. So, once we have that date, if anybody's willing to, donate some time to make this thing go off, contact me and let me know, and it'd be greatly appreciated. So, that's all I got.
I don't have nothing this week. That's a good one. I retired
So-
today.
Yeah, happy retirement.
Happy retirement. So I got a couple things. People contacted me, and this lady said that years past, that the dump had a free tire dump day. Yeah,
I'm gonna
one
say,
time. So,
it's been a long time ago.
instead of a free tire dump day, I think maybe we should do a free dump day.
Well, that was one thing that was discussed in the work session with the city. And I think the logistics of that becomes, With it being a
Well, we
with it
can
being
do
a
it-
transfer station,
Right.
you know, I say, because we talked about using roll-offs and having
Well, what I'm
an
saying is,
alternative.
what I'm saying
located.
is I don't just want a tire day.
Yeah, I agree.
If we're gonna let them come dump one day for free, then let's do more than just tires. Let's do,
I'd say that's
the
something.
only bad thing to it is they're gonna throw everything in one bin and they're gonna show up and they're gonna wanna dump it in one spot.
Right.
Well,
And we're
if
we're
you
gonna
did-
overwhelm the transfer station.
Well,
we were supposed to host the next one, so
Yeah.
maybe that's something we need to schedule and bring back up.
It's something we need to be working out with our public works
As,
director.
yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
Because that is, that's a big undertaking. When it was a landfill itself, when you could dump and bury and all that, that was quite feasible, because you could get vehicles in and out and just keep things
Right.
moving. But when you fill up that building, then you gotta fill up the truck, or the trailer, and then you gotta move that, and you only got two. So-
I would love to find a spot to have another landfill, but that's a discussion for later.
I mean, thinking that, using roll-offs like Eric had suggested with the city meeting, that makes sense. At least then we got a place we can control it and make them dump into two different.
And we can do one city at a time throughout the
Right.
county. We don't have to do it all at
Yeah.
once.
All the incorporated cities.
Yeah. So,
You got something you wanna add to that?
On your tire deal, I believe the way that went several years ago is the state had a grant program going on at that time, and they offset the cost for that.
so no tire only day, unless the state's gonna give us money.
Just throw that out there, that's my understanding.
Thank you.
And they gotta be separate.
They gotta be separated, yeah. We can't just, yeah. So, and I did take a tour of the dump last week with Eric and Dustin. And I think it's got a lot of potential for the county. And it was brought to my attention at one point that last week I called it my public works. It's not my public works, and I apologize for that. It is Bourbon County's public works. So I'll try to refrain from using mine anymore. So, that's all I got.
Okay. I guess we'll do it during budget, but yeah, public works, or, the landfill, I think about rates and stuff like that, is something we need to
Yep,
discuss.
and I've had a conversation with Eric.
Yeah,
When he's ready to talk about it, we'll have a meeting about it, so.
yeah.
At that time, we haven't adopted fees in a long time, and I had requested getting like fee schedules from everybody, and had pretty good cooperation, but I don't have all of them. So I don't know if that's something that you guys want to discuss in the future too,
Fees for,
countywide fee schedule. Some are statutory, so you don't have a choice. But it's for transparency's sake for people that are doing business with the county. It's kind of nice to know what we charge for things.
Yeah.
So, you know, just that might be something to think about. We've done it in the past. We haven't done it since 2020, I think. So just throwing that out.
okay. All right, well, meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.
Go enjoy your retirement, David.
Yeah.
I'll forward you that guy's information because I forgot that phone.
Mr.
The zoning working group,
What's that?
the zoning
This
working
is why.
meeting, you guys still having that on the 10th?
That's part of that work session.
Yes. Okay, so you're gonna combine multiple work sessions together?
We'll probably touch base on one that we rescheduled, that we had set for the
Yeah, just-
Hey.
I
Anybody
mean,
wanna
I
buy
think
some
that's what
4-H trash bags?
I'm sorry?
Anybody wanna buy some 4-H trash bags?
Basically, to answer your question, Catholics depend on where we're at.
You guys don't pork
Oh, okay, I had to ask my wife. I thought there was money that come with looking at it.